Hey, what's good, everybody? Let me get this slideshow. All right, that's probably good. That's probably good. All right, we're going to keep it right there. So, these are going to be the top 10 sales skills that you need for any sales. But this is going to be specifically tailored to the home service business. If you're running a window cleaning, gutter cleaning, pressure washing business, that's what I do. So, I'm going to use examples from my industry and relate it to these skills. But these skills are for any industry and for any area of your life. Mastering these skills is really going to pay off for everything in your life. These are skills that you can learn, you can practice, and you can master. It's nothing you got to be born with. So if you follow along, I'm sure you've heard some of these things before, but I'm just going to reinforce their importance when you're making a sale. So the first micro skill is smiling with your eyes. Okay, you can tell everything by the eyes. You can tell if someone's having a bad day, someone's having a good day. You can tell if they have good, magnetic, charismatic energy, all by the eyes. So start smiling with your eyes, not just your teeth. Clients can instantly see if you love your life or if you are irritated. So you can see on the left, loser eyes, roaming, unsure, looking down, signaling insecurity. No one's going to follow a lost leader. Sales is about being a leader, and you have to lead people through the sales process into finalizing the sale. And on the right, leader eyes, you're locked in, confident, piercing, radiating genuine happiness and perspective. And you do this not only just through eye contact, but by smiling with the eyes. Second one is going to be showing your teeth. Physically show your teeth when you talk. Okay. It creates infectious energy, proves you enjoy what you do. When you look like you love your job, the client feels at peace. You don't want somebody knocking at your door selling solar, pissed off because it's 104 degrees and they've already knocked 40 houses, you know? I mean, if you're going door to door and after your first one, you don't get a sale, you have to keep your energy at like an 8.5 to a 9. Don't let a customer bring it down to a 7 or to a 6.5 and carry that throughout the rest of the day. You got to constantly, I got a little off topic there, but the second micro skill you're going to want to master is showing your teeth when you're talking, because it proves you enjoy what you do. Am I magnetic? Am I on fire? You got to feel it. Ask yourself, am I magnetic? Am I on fire? Speaking without smiling makes you look annoyed. If you are bland, you kill the deal. So start showing your teeth. Module 3, posture. Shoulders back, stand tall. You don't want to be head down, moping around. Walking confident. You're going to project safety and confidence to the customer and anybody around you. Confidence is physical. In an expensive world, clients crave assurance. Your posture provides that safety. And when you're trying to make the sale, when you're talking to the customer through the sale, when you're running down the invoice or the estimate, change your position. I don't want to be looking directly at the customer the entire time. I might just be looking out at the lawn with the customer. I'm on their front porch, relaxed, looking over at the customer every now and then I'll change towards them, and then I might start looking the other way, down the street. as I'm talking to them. So, if I get to the customer like, hey, Deborah, I'm here to count your windows. Is the side gate unlocked? I'll be back 5 minutes. I'm going to count everything up and I'll come back. Then I come back. All right, Deborah. I'm not facing her. I'm like right here. I'm looking at my phone. She's over here. Like, all right, I came up with 30 panes. We multiply that by 10, and then we'll take 20% off for you. So it comes down to 240 for the entire house. That includes all the screens, frames, tracks, and sills. And what we're going to do for you is we're going to throw in a $10 discount if you leave us a Google review at the end. And boom, I face them with the last word like that. And then I just leave it up to them. She's like, okay, that sounds good. When can you get me in? Then I'll pull my phone out and look at my schedule, and then I'll start facing the other way. All right. Let's see. I think Thursday at 1 p.m. looks like we have an opening, or Friday morning. Do any of these work for you? And yeah, that's just kind of an example of how you can use your body to command the space to make the customer feel comfortable and natural. Because if you're talking to them face like this the whole time, people's attention spans are short. So if I'm moving, I'm keeping that attention, and I'm lowering the pressure. I'm making it more natural. I'm holding a coffee in a hand like I'm just some guy walking down the street, like her neighbor. Like if there's a post in the front, I'm leaning up against it. So that's the third micro expression, how to use your body in space. Okay. They say that your hands are the most dangerous tool, so you want to use your hands to emphasize things, to explain things, to, to your benefit, but your hands can also be to your detriment. If you're standing like this with your arms crossed, right? That's going to make people feel defensive, and that's you're not open. So I never cross my arms when I'm waiting for a payment from a customer, or I'm waiting for a customer, or I'm in their house. And the only time I have my hands in my pockets is maybe if I'm doing a flyer, walking up to the customer's house, but I always have my thumbs out of my pockets. Okay? So it doesn't look like I'm a threat. Because if my hands are all the way in my pockets, I could have a weapon. I don't know, dude. People are crazy and people are on guard nowadays. So use your hands as tools. Keep your hands out of your pockets. Don't cross your arms because it's confrontational. So your hands are your most dangerous tools in sales, man. You point, you show. I try not to point directly. Okay. Maybe like a little gesture with my hand like this, but use your hands to emphasize your words, to talk through, to explain things. Okay? They paint pictures, they tell stories, they create electricity and vibration, and they act as the conductor's baton for the conversation. Use them to sell ideas. Okay? So these are, as you can see, we're on number 4. These are all micro expressions that you use with your body. Okay, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Number 5, the vibe. Don't be a dead Bob. If you have a dead Bob in your company, it's not going to be doing very well with sales. He's probably not making a lot of sales. People are stressed out about spending a lot of money. So if you're selling a high ticket service or a high ticket product, high payments are going to cause paralysis. Your job as a salesperson is to break the tension with humor, and your job is to lower their anxiety. You're supposed to be a stress reliever. Okay? If they could buy online without stress, they wouldn't need you. You are there to make the process fun. So don't be a dead Bob, and start aura farming. Start psychologically framing yourself to have a way better vibe, at least in the sales experience, bro. And it's going to carry over into other areas of your life, your relationships, your friendships, personal life. Okay, the silent lead, when you're guiding the agreement, sales is all about leading. You want to lead the customer through the sales process. Okay? You want to lead them. Safety is important, isn't it? Icon of a head nodding up. You're getting them, you're leading them with leading questions. Safety is important, isn't it? You want to keep your family safe, don't you? This home, your roof is going to keep your family safe, isn't it? Okay, these examples are terrible, but you want to be able to lead customers through the transaction. Okay, module 7, tonality. I'll try to explain this as best as I can. When you're laying out the sale, you give reasons to why, if they don't go with your company, that's going to be the consequences. There's consequences for both sides, but there's negative consequences if you don't decide to do, for example, the gutter cleaning now. And there's positive consequences if you do decide to do the gutter cleaning now. And when you explain those negative consequences, your tonality shifts into a down serious trajectory. It's not what you're saying, it's how you make them feel. So, look, if you don't do the gutter cleaning now, that's fine, but you risk water leaks to your home's roof and foundation. If you do decide to do the gutter cleaning now, we'll make sure your gutters and downspouts are flowing properly, and you'll have peace of mind for the rest of the winter that you won't have to worry about roof leaks or any leak for that matter. Okay? So, you got to use those extremes when you're explaining the sale. Use your voice to paint the pain of inaction and the pleasure of the solution. Bland excitement kills deals. You want to set the room on fire. You want to show people how that high excited tone is going to fix their problem if they do go with your service or buy your product. Okay, final skill. Okay, we only have 8 skills here, but your words, if you start using cooler words, which is something I need to work on, but expand your vocabulary and do some high octane vocabulary when you're trying to make sales, that's really going to paint a picture so vivid the customer can't unsee. Let their imagination run wild and create an experience that they will never forget. So in your industry, you want to be a king of that industry and don't sound like the competition. If everybody in your industry who's selling windows is always irritated on the phone, have that calm, cool, collective, down to earth, it's got to be natural to you. It's got to be, just don't be like everybody else in your industry, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So boom, here's all 10, bro. Smile with your eyes, smile with your teeth, eye contact. Make eye contact when you're talking to people. Don't have scared, skittish looking away. Humor, don't be a dead bob. Head nods, lead the yes. Posture, chest out, shoulders back. Use your hands, change positions, use your feet, move around, keep the attention. Your tonality, you got to be able to change the tone at a moment's notice to increase the energy when needed. Don't be weird about that one. And godlike words, okay? Get your vocabulary on point and watch this video over, man. Improving and mastering all of these are going to improve everything in your life. So in order to get good at this, you have to have obsession, write it down, role play it, master it. And you got to believe in your product. So that's pretty much all that slide's saying. Believe in your product, sell a good product. That's it, man. I don't know how many times I said in this video, but I'm going to stop doing that. And thank you for watching.